Have you ever thought of someone, and suddenly the phone rings, and it's them? Have you ever been lost in confusion, only to stumble upon a line in a book, a song lyric, or a stranger's words that felt as though the universe was speaking directly to you? It didn't make sense logically, but something inside you knew this meant something. These are not accidents. They are not just coincidences. I called them synchronicities. They are bridges between your inner world and the outer world, between your unconscious mind and the mysterious patterns of life. You see, life is not only a chain of cause and effect. There is a deeper current, one that moves through symbol, emotion, and timing. When you are truly present, when you are open, life begins to mirror your soul in unexpected ways. And in that moment, the boundary between you and the world disappears. You are no longer a passive observer. You are part of the conversation, a sacred dialogue between psyche and reality. And that is where meaning begins. What is synchronicity? Synchronicity is not magic. It is not superstition. It is not the universe playing tricks. It is something far more mysterious and far more real. It is the moment when your inner experience, a thought, a dream, a deep emotional state is reflected in the outer world in a way that defies logic, yet feels deeply meaningful. Not caused, but connected. You may be grieving a loss, and a song comes on the radio that speaks to your sorrow so precisely. It feels as if it was written for you. You may be contemplating a choice, and suddenly a stranger says a sentence out of nowhere that answers the very question you haven't spoken aloud. These moments are not random. They are what I call meaningful coincidences. In a world obsessed with cause and effect, we forget that not all truth can be measured. Not all reality is linear. There are patterns beneath the surface, invisible threads weaving psyche and matter, mind and world, soul and symbol. Synchronicity is the language of the unconscious, spoken not in words, but in timing. You feel it, not in the intellect, but in the body, in the heart. A sense of alignment, a sacred familiarity, as though the universe is nodding back at you. But synchronicity does not obey logic. It does not ask to be explained. It asks to be noticed, because it is not about control. It is about connection. When the inner world is stirred and the outer world responds with meaning, not explanation, you are witnessing the mystery of synchronicity. It is as if life itself is speaking. And if you are awake enough, still enough, you will hear it. Not through noise, but through resonance. Not through analysis, but through awareness. This is not about believing in signs. It is about remembering that you are not separate from the fabric of reality. You are part of a greater dance, one that speaks in dreams, symbols, and synchronicities. How it happens, not cause, but meaning. In the Western world, we have been trained to think in straight lines. We are taught to ask, what caused this? If something happens, there must be a reason, a chain of events we can trace, analyze, dissect. But synchronicity does not follow the logic of cause and effect. It speaks a different language, the language of meaning. That it does not ask, what caused this? It asks, why now? What is this trying to reveal? You see, not all events exist to be explained. Some events exist to mirror you, to reflect the state of your unconscious, to bring to the surface something you are not yet aware of. These are symbolic events. They are not random, but they are not predictable either. They are deeply personal. What feels meaningful to you may mean nothing to another. This is because synchronicity arises not from the outside, but from the meeting point between the inner and the outer. The unconscious, your dreams, your emotions, your forgotten truths, is not sealed away inside your mind. It is connected to the world in ways you cannot measure, but can absolutely feel. When you are emotionally stirred, when you are in a state of openness or inner turmoil, the world may begin to echo your state, not because you caused it, but because you are resonating with it. Like a tuning fork vibrates with another, your inner state aligns with something out there, and a moment is born that pierces time and logic. It feels like destiny. It feels like a message. And in many ways, it is. Synchronicity reminds you that the world is not cold or mechanical. It is alive with meaning. It is a mirror. And when you are truly present, you begin to see yourself reflected everywhere. This is not about belief. It is about awareness. When you stop trying to control life and start listening to it, you begin to notice the subtle dance between what you feel and what unfolds. As within, so without. And synchronicity, that sacred alignment of soul and symbol, is proof that you are never truly separate from the world around you. Common experiences. Thinking of someone, then they call. Have you ever thought of someone from your past? A friend, a family member, even a person you haven't spoken to in years. And suddenly, without warning, they call you? Or perhaps you're struggling with a decision, lost, in a sea of doubt, and a stranger nearby says a sentence, casual, unintended, that strikes your heart like an arrow of clarity. These are not rare moments. In fact, they are more common than we admit. We simply don't know how to explain them, so we dismiss them. But I urge you, don't dismiss what makes your soul pause. These moments are not logic-driven. They are symbolic echoes, the external world reverberating with your inner state. You were thinking of that friend, but perhaps what you were really feeling was unresolved emotion, an open thread in your psyche. The universe, or the deeper intelligence of life, responds not as a reaction, but as a resonance. You are wrestling with a choice, and in your openness, your vulnerability, the world sent you a mirror, a whisper through the lips of a stranger. This is synchronicity in its most intimate form. It is not loud. It is not theatrical. It is precisely timed and deeply personal. When it happens, you feel a stillness, a knowing that defies reason. That was meant for me. And perhaps it was, not because you caused it, but because something within you shifted. You became more attuned, more honest, more ready to receive. And so the world spoke back, not in explanation, but in symbol. We are conditioned to believe that thoughts live only inside our heads. But in truth, thought and emotion carry energy, and energy seeks pattern, seeks meaning, seeks expression. The psyche is not isolated. It is part of the field of life itself. And when you open yourself, not just mentally, but emotionally, spiritually, you begin to experience life as a conversation, not a machine. These small moments, the call, the message, the coincidence, they are not proof that you control the world. They are reminders that you are connected to it. And when you're willing to listen, synchronicity becomes not strange, but sacred. Why synchronicity matters. Synchronicity is not just a curious event. It is a profound reminder. A reminder that you are not merely a body moving through empty space, not just a mind trapped in thought, but a soul woven into the very fabric of existence. We are taught to believe that we are separate from each other, separate from nature, separate from meaning. But synchronicity gently disrupts that illusion. It whispers, you belong to something greater. There is an intelligence deeper than logic, a living order that speaks in symbols, emotions, and moments of alignment. It is not linear. It does not operate like a machine. It flows like music, with rhythm, resonance, and harmony. When synchronicity occurs, it is not trying to predict your future. It is calling you to wake up to the present. To pay attention, to slow down, to notice what your soul has been trying to tell you, and what the world is gently echoing back. You see, the outer world is not random. It mirrors what lives inside of you, your fears, your longings, your questions, your readiness. Synchronicity is not outside of you. It emerges through you, as if life is responding to the depth of your presence. It is not about superstition. It is about meaning, about recognizing that the world does not just happen to you. It responds to the level of your consciousness. A meaningful coincidence is not something you create, but something you enter, something you notice when your inner and outer worlds align. This is why synchronicity matters, because it reawakens your sense of connection. It returns you to the sacred. It reminds you that your life is not a series of random events, but a story unfolding, full of symbols, messages, and mirrors. So, be awake, be curious, be present. The signs are not waiting in the stars. They are written in the patterns of your own heart, reflected, like a dream, in the world around you. How to invite synchronicity? You cannot force synchronicity. It is not a tool. It is not a technique. It is not something you summon on demand, but you can become available to it. Synchronicity requires a different kind of awareness, not the calculating, strategic mind, but the quiet, attentive presence of the soul. To invite synchronicity, you must first slow down. Most people are moving too fast to notice the symbols life places in their path. They are caught in noise, in urgency, in distraction. But synchronicity does not shout. It whispers. And you must be still enough to hear it. Begin by reflecting on your emotions. Not just what you think, but what you feel beneath the surface. What is unresolved within you? What are you longing for, resisting, or hiding? Synchronicities often arise in moments of emotional intensity, grief, confusion, transition, desire, because these are moments when the psyche is open, vulnerable, and searching. And so life responds, not with explanation, but with symbolic reply. Pay attention to your dreams. They are the language of the unconscious. They are not random, but meaningful, and they often contain the same symbols that appear in waking synchronicities. You may see an animal, a place, a person in a dream, and then encounter it unexpectedly in the real world. This is not coincidence. It is a dialogue between the seen and unseen. Trust what pulls your attention, the image that repeats, the phrase you hear 3 times in a day, the book that falls off the shelf, the stranger who tells you something you've been afraid to admit to yourself. These are not accidents. They are invitations. And most of all, trust meaning over logic. The mind will try to dismiss it, to say, it's just chance. But the soul knows better, because synchronicity always arrives with timing. And timing, in the language of the psyche, is never random. It comes when you are ready, when something within you is beginning to awaken. So live with openness, live with curiosity, live as if the world were not a machine, but a mirror, and you will begin to see that life is not just happening, it is speaking. We must be willing to let go of causality, to hear the language of the psyche. There is a deeper rhythm moving beneath the surface of your life. It does not speak in explanations. It speaks in moments, in patterns and symbols, in strange alignments that feel too precise to ignore. When something happens that feels too perfect, pause. Don't rush to label it. Don't dismiss it as chance. Ask, not just, how did this happen? But why now? What inside of me has shifted? What truth is life reflecting back? Synchronicity is not about predicting your future. It is about deepening your presence. It's a conversation between your soul and the world. A reminder that life is not random, and neither are you. You do not need to force anything. You only need to listen and trust what you feel, because in that quiet attention, the symbols begin to appear. The meaning begins to unfold, and the world becomes more than it seemed. It becomes alive. Subscribe to continue this journey inward, where meaning begins.